This is the original podcast edition of The Guild of the Cowry Catchers by Abigail Hilton, now part of the complete Pirates of Wefrevane series. The books are available as audiobooks, ebooks, and paperbacks. This podcast originally aired from 2010 to 2014. Stick around after the story for commentary from me, the author, more than a decade later. The Guild of the Cowry Catchers, a novel of pirates in Panamindorah. Written and narrated by Abigail Hilton. Book 4, Out of the Ashes. Warning: this novel was intended for people who shop in the grown-up section of the bookstore. If you need to ask whether you will be offended, you probably will. Episode 1. Chapter 1. The Stuff of Legends.
The dead in Wefrevane are always burned if possible. One may trace this practice back to ancient times, perhaps before the wyverns, and certainly before the priestess. Gawain, the truth about wyverns.
Heads everywhere turned as Felbane dropped onto the deck of the Defiance. Gerard noted, even in his distraction, that most of the faces were not Grishnard. He slid down from the Griffin, aware of how ragged his party must look, their brown cotton and leather garments patched and stained. He, at least, needed a haircut, and they all needed baths. Even Felbane looked more like a wild animal than a tame griffin, his coat unbrushed, his feathers stiff and bristly from bathing in salt water. A Celt approached them, who looked to Gerard like a bosun, a big burly Zed with beaded hair and blue eyes.
"Gerard Holivar?" he asked.
Gerard would have been surprised if his own father had recognized him, let alone this stranger.
"Yes."
The Zed broke into a grin.
"The owner's been hoping you'd show up. Follow me."
Gerard turned to find Silvio close behind him, and Dakar looking curiously about the deck.
"I have two other Celts with me."
"Yes, fine,"
said the Zed over his shoulder.
"Just come."
Gerard felt like a mother duck with her ducklings as he started across the deck, Silvio practically treading his heels. They went below, and the Zed knocked on one of the cabin doors.
"Come in,"
someone called, and the Zed held the door for them. Gerard was not surprised to find himself in a library. The room was smaller than Silvio's inner office aboard the Fang, but Gerard wasn't sure that it contained fewer books. Possibly more. There was a desk bolted to the wall at the other end, with a Celt busily scribbling behind it. His face lit up when he saw who'd come through his door, and he took off his lenses.
Gerard! I knew you'd turn up. If I couldn't kill you, then Pater surely couldn't.
Gerard smiled.
"I'd hoped you'd figure out what happened."
Gawain bobbed to his feet. His hair was its natural pale blue today, braided down his back.
I visited the Griffin Pit. You certainly left an impression there. They'll be talking about that fight for a year.
Gerard scratched his head.
The Griffin is on deck. His name is Felbane."
Gawain grinned.
Good. We don't have one of those. Although we've got one of just about everything else. Looks like the Griffin isn't the only person you brought with you.
Dakar was standing beside Gerard, watching Gawain with her head tilted to one side. Silvio was cowering behind him. Gerard stepped aside and pushed him gently forward.
"Think he'll even recognize you without shinies?"
he asked, trying to get Silvio to calm down.
"We can hope not."
Gawain's brow furrowed.
Where did you find a white foxling in...
He stopped. His eyes grew round. He glanced from Gerard to the foxling and back again. Silvio twisted his hands together behind his back. He seemed to be attempting to look as small as possible.
"See how non-threatening I am? You couldn't hurt something like that, could you?"
"Except that you've got a knife up your sleeve."
"Shut up, Gerard."
Gawain stared.
Silvio?
"He can't speak. The priestess sold him to slavers, and they cut out his tongue. He was half dead when I found him."
Gawain opened his mouth, but he didn't seem to know what to say.
He signs and writes,
continued Gerard. He thought he'd saved Silvio's primary mode of communication for an explanation of Dakar.
He's made up his own language with his hands.
Silvio was looking up at Gawain with round eyes and palpable nervousness. Gerard couldn't help but remember the last time they'd met in the lodge on Masia Minor. He remembered something Silvio had said.
So don't yap at me about morals and altruism, Masia.
Better pray he's got some after all.
Gawain put a hand over his mouth.
They cut out his...
He looked truly horrified. Gawain's reaction seemed to help a little. Silvio relaxed a fraction, and his eyes flicked to the bookshelves. Gawain laughed, a sad sound.
Yes, I have been reunited with my books, although happily not as a lampshade.
Silvio winced. He signed something, although Gerard just listened to what he said.
He wants to know whether you favor foxlings as lampshades.
Silvio was saying quite a bit else as well.
Tell him I'll be useful. I won't cause trouble. I'm good for navigating and...
Gawain crouched down and took both of Silvio's hands. Silvio stared at him, unable to sign, suddenly frightened again.
No, I do not favor foxlings as lampshades.
Silvio gave a half-hysterical giggle.
A pair of mittens?
I'm not translating that, Silvio.
Gawain glanced up at Gerard. Silvio was annoyed.
Gerard, I shouldn't be able to talk when he's got my hands.
Gawain looked back at Silvio.
Silvio, you are welcome here. This is unexpected, and I'll have to figure out how to deal with it, but I'm glad you're alive. As far as I'm concerned, you're not the enemy. You're one of the casualties.
Silvio looked at the floor. Gawain dropped Silvio's hands and stood up.
Now, I'd like to know what else is going on here, because you two are obviously communicating via some method I'm not following.
Silvio's ears flicked back.
You're a lousy liar, Gerard.
Didn't you already know that?
Aloud, Gerard said,
You're right, and I really think you should wait until you know more about us before making a decision about whether we can stay on your ship. Silvio's not the most controversial person I brought with me. If you want us to leave, we'll understand.
Gawain cocked his head.
You'll find I have a diverse crew, Gerard. I doubt you could add anything too shocking.
Still arrogant.
Just naive.
Gawain glanced between them with a frown. Gerard wondered whether his facial expressions changed when he was talking to Silvio.
What is going on? What are you doing?
Silvio had taken a few steps away from them to look at some nearby books. Gerard saw him stiffen. His head whipped around, and he looked at Gawain. Gawain grinned.
Yeah, I've got yours too. They auctioned off all your things on the pier in Lecklock, all non-nautical material, and a friend of mine very thoughtfully bought all the books. So I got all mine back, and all yours. You got your sword too, Gerard.
That's wonderful.
Gerard had never expected to see that sword again. He wasn't surprised that Silvio was excited at the prospect of regaining access to his books, but Silvio's thoughts were churning with even more agitation than Gerard would have expected. His eyes darted back and forth, scanning the shelves.
It's going to happen. It's actually going to happen.
What's going to happen?
Asked Gerard, and then realized that Silvio hadn't signed anything, and he'd answered out loud. Gawain was watching them in open bewilderment. Silvio turned to look at Gerard.
Gerard, I never told you because it was so strange and it seemed cruel. I didn't see how it could be real, didn't see how it could ever happen, but, well, it won't without the book. Ask him.
Ask him what?
Ask him if he's got Thessalin's book, that storybook I gave her on the Fang after she played her harp for me, after Alcer hurt that foxling. It should have been in my library.
Gerard described the book, and Gawain nodded.
I think it's here. I have another a lot like it of my own.
Please find it, before Silvio explodes.
Silvio did look ready to explode. He was pacing back and forth, rubbing his hands together.
Is Silvio all right?
Asked Dakar. She'd been standing very quietly beside the door.
Who's the girl?
Asked Gawain, as he went to a shelf and scanned the titles.
Is she the final dangerous member of your party?
Gerard smiled.
That's her.
Then I think you can stay.
Gawain found the book and handed it to Silvio, who looked as though he might try to eat it. He went to the desk and opened it with shaking hands.
If no one's messed with it. If no one else has opened it.
Apparently no one had, because he found several sheets of folded paper. He took them out reverently and spread them on the desk.
Gerard, you need to come read this, and you need to sit down.
Gerard came, and they all gathered round the desk. There was only one chair in the room, and Silvio made Gerard sit in it. The paper was stained brown in several places. Old blood, Gerard guessed.
That looks like some of my paper,
said Gawain with a frown.
and lasts longer than the regular stuff.
Might you have had some lying about your father's palace on Meja Major?
Asked Silvio. Gerard translated. Gawain nodded.
Yes, I think I did, actually.
I found this in Thessalin's pocket, Gerard. I didn't tell you because it made no sense to me and I didn't want to... Well, you'll see. It seemed cruel to tell you ridiculous things that might not be true.
Gerard looked down at the paper. It was a letter, written in Grishnard characters.
Dear Gerard, I wrote a song this evening. It was the most amazing thing. I know you always said I was a prophetess, and I always said that was foolish, but just for this evening, maybe it was true. The firebird sang to me. I heard his voice. I was so afraid that all the gods were evil, but he is good, Gerard. He told me so many things, showed me so many things. With my eyes, Gerard, I saw. Look, I'm writing this. I shouldn't even know how to write, but here I am. The firebird is gone now, and I don't know how long my sight will last. I can't write down everything he showed me. I don't have the words, and I don't think that I have the time, but it was splendid. I made a song about it. He says you'll read it. Gerard, I have a feeling I won't be with you again this side of the shores beyond the world. Please don't be sad forever. I love you. Tell Silvio I love him too. Yours always, Thessalon.
Gerard's vision was swimming long before he finished the letter. Gawain was staring over his shoulder. Without a word, he reached down and picked up the remaining sheets of paper. Silvio had a hand on Gerard's arm.
The letter said you'd read it, and I never thought it would happen. Leopard Schultz took her body away and burned it very properly that night, but I was the first person in the room. She had her hand in her pocket, and I looked and found the paper. I tucked it in that book I'd given her and took the book back to the ship that night. Gerard, I was half mad. I hardly knew what I was doing. I couldn't make sense of the letter.
Did you read the song, Silvio?
Gawain was walking around the room, humming under his breath. Silvio nodded.
Sounds kind of like your book, huh? But I can't read music, and I was afraid to show it to anyone who could. I don't know what it should sound like.
Of course, Gawain didn't hear him.
This is fascinating. Where did it come from?
Gerard pulled himself together.
Thessalin's pocket, apparently. That's her name at the bottom.
Yes, but...
Gawain was clearly scrambling for an explanation that made sense.
She must have dictated it to someone. I mean, this is the stuff legends are made of, but she couldn't see. It's brilliant, though. I mean, really brilliant. The song, the idea, everything.
Gerard stood up.
I think it happened the way she says. And speaking of the stuff legends are made of, Dakar, come here. Gawain, I think you're the one who needs to sit down for this.
Chapter 2. A Familiar Face.
Lemurs are one of the sheltless races. Some taxonomists argue that they are in fact shelts, but most call them sentient beasts. They are native to the Sun-Kissed Isles and have never been common in either Wefravain or the Lawless Lands. Meja Minor keeps a small population for hunting. Gawain, the non-Grishnards of Wefravain.
An eighth watch later, Gawain was sitting at his desk, staring at the ceiling with a glassy-eyed look of a person who has had a very ordered worldview shattered in a matter of seconds. Gerard was still talking about telepathy.
I can hear Silvio because Dakar made a bridge out of Thessalin's memory. I don't understand it, but Dakar said it has something to do with the fact that we both loved her.
Gwaine shut his eyes.
It's called an alpha bond. The old Shavier supposedly bonded that way to their mounts.
Bet you didn't believe in it,
Piped up Silvio. Gwaine jumped. Dakar had touched his arm, and Silvio was holding her hand. Gerard doubted that Gwaine could hear Silvio as well as he could, but Gwaine had obviously heard him.
I didn't believe in a lot of things that seemed to be staring me in the face today.
Dakar looked like a little girl again, although she'd gone through several shapes, including her wyvern form, a few minutes ago. They'd told Gwaine everything, including whose daughter she was.
Thessa's ballad kind of puts it all together. Things you knew, things we knew, things from the old stories. Apparently when Morchella calls herself a priestess, she isn't lying. She was a priestess of the Firebird. All the dragons were. They were the patrons of the islands, the judges and protectors, until they went bad.
If I'm understanding the music right, it's got a really pretty tune.
Gwaine put the sheets of paper down, stood up, and took a few steps around the room.
What am I going to do with you three?
There was a knock at the door.
Come in.
It opened to admit a small, active-looking Grischnard of indeterminate age. His face looked vaguely familiar to Gerard.
Gwaine, the biggest griffin you've ever seen, is up on deck. He's getting a little restless, and someone said his master is in here.
Silvio let out a strangled snarl.
I knew it. I told you, Gerard.
Gerard's mouth fell open. Marlowe's snail looked almost as surprised. Then he grinned.
Hello, Gerard. Need a secretary?
Gerard laughed. He couldn't help it.
A secretary? Spelled assassin?
Silvio was practically vibrating with aggression. Gwaine put a hand on his head.
He's the one who got your books. And Gerard's sword.
That made Silvio pause. Marlowe stared at the foxling.
Good gods, how many lives do you have, Silvio?
Silvio glared. He put his hands in his pockets, and Marlowe took a step back. Gerard noticed that he had a scar on his left cheek, and he remembered Silvio's knife grazing Marlowe's face just before the spider grabbed him.
Silvio, do remember that these shelts can kill us. What happened to scared little kid?
I'm feeling more like belligerent adult just now.
Silvio gave an entirely non-reassuring smile, took his hands out of his pockets, and spread his fingers to show he didn't have a knife.
He can't talk,
said Gwaine.
Hunty Slavers cut out his tongue.
Marlowe winced.
Well, that's an enormous waste. Might as well have cut off Gerard's sword arm. Speaking of which...
He unbuckled his sword belt.
Gwaine maybe promised I'd give this back if we found you again. It is a very nice weapon.
Gerard took it. He'd left the Hunty sword strapped to Felbane. Just holding his own sword made him feel like himself again. He put it on.
I really want to hear the rest of the story, but this griffin is making the lemurs nervous with the way he's pacing and picking at things. If his master would just go talk to him...
He glanced at Gerard. Gerard smiled.
If you want his master, you're looking at the wrong shelt.
Marlowe raised an eyebrow. He glanced from Dakar to Silvio. Silvio waved.
I thought you were afraid of griffins.
Things change.
Gwaine took a deep breath.
Marlowe, take Silvio and Dakar, that's the girl, up on deck. Calm the griffin and show them around. Stay with them. I'm not sure how some of the crew will react to Silvio. Dakar can translate Silvio's hand signs.
Do I want a translation?
Silvio was already signing.
What does bastard mean?
Asked Dakar.
I know I've heard it before, but I don't remember.
Gerard put a hand to his forehead.
Silvio, try to remember that you were really nervous when we came on board.
If it helps at all,
said Marlowe, as they started out the door.
From a professional standpoint, I always admired you.
When they were gone, Gwaine said,
I'm thinking that for now I'll probably put you all in one cabin by yourselves. I do need to get the captain's permission to let you sail with us, but I don't think that will be a problem.
Gerard was surprised.
I thought you were the captain.
Gwaine almost laughed.
I know just enough about ships to be dangerous. No, I'm just the owner. My crew is very loyal. They could have run off and left me any number of times, but for some reason they always come back.
You've got an interesting crew. Lemurs?
They make marvelous sailors, thumbs on all 4 feet. We've got a little of everything, except Grishnarts, and now we've got you. And me, of course. Half of me.
Gerard was confused.
Marlowe?
He's a Leon. Helps when you're trying to pass yourself off as younger than you are.
Ah.
Marlowe said he wouldn't kill you. And that was my first clue that you were different. Marlowe never met a member of the police that he couldn't cheerfully poison, stab, or drown. The police killed his family a long time ago. He hates them.
Gerard rocked on his heels. He was trying hard not to feel a tiny bit resentful.
Silvio knew what Marlowe was from the moment he met him, and I wouldn't listen.
Gwaine smiled.
I couldn't get one of my shelts anywhere near Silvio for years, and it wasn't for lack of trying. I finally did get Marlowe onto the Fang, but only because he came with you and Thessalon. He followed her to CERN, met me there, told me he'd had enough and wanted out of the police. We both thought maybe he was just getting tired. He'd killed or helped to kill a lot of temple police. Because of him, the organization had stayed off balance and ineffectual for years. He said he didn't want to kill you. He said you were different. He said he really liked your wife, and he couldn't kill her husband. So I said I'd take care of you myself, and then it turned out I didn't even have to come looking. You came to me.
Gerard sighed.
Silvio berated me for not arresting you.
Well, you should have. You were spectacularly unsuspicious and trusting, but you were a lot harder to kill than I expected, and you did learn fast. We're a diverse ship and very forgiving, but still, does Dakar change shape often?
If she's relaxed. I think it's healthier if she doesn't have to hide it. She likes to spend time in the air, on the land, and in the water if she can. Although she needs to stay out of the water for a while.
He told Gwaine about Dakar's recent encounters with other wyverns. Gwaine grimaced.
Please don't mention that to anyone else.
He thought for a moment.
Gerard, I'm not sure how to say this part. I don't mean to insult you.
Gwaine didn't quite meet Gerard's eyes.
Alpha bonds between shelts are rare, but when they do occur, it's usually between mates. I realize your bond was somewhat artificial in its creation, but you might want to be careful what you say to whom, depending on what impression you wish to give.
You're not insulting me. Thank you for being candid.
He thought he should say something else, but Gwaine looked uncomfortable, and the moment passed.
I'll arrange for your room, and we'd better make sure Marlowe and Silvio aren't throwing knives at each other. Come on.
Chapter 3. Opposition.
Many ships in Wefrevane contain a dozen or more nest boxes for Pegasus and other large animals. Such quarters are usually located on the uppermost of a ship's lower decks. The boxes open from the side of the ship via a large porthole, which can be closed in rough weather, or if the occupant is not winged. A winged occupant can come and go from its quarters without landing on deck, or having to navigate stairs and hallways. Gwaine, a guide to Wefrevane.
Zorn had a public bath built over natural hot springs. Gerard, Silvio, and Dakar all visited it that afternoon, and even Felbane was allowed to splash in the large outdoor pool designed for Pegasus and zebras. Silvio explained to Felbane, slowly and at length, that he could not hunt anything right now. The Griffin had trouble with the concept and kept asking,
"But what about those?"
in reference to the ship's lemurs, and,
"Can I catch that?"
when he saw a passing zebra. His ears flicked and twitched at every strange sound. Gerard could tell that he was making Silvio nervous.
Griffins have a finely tuned concept of us and them.
He tried to explain.
He'll probably adopt the whole ship. Just give him some time.
Alsair never did.
Gerard sighed.
No. For Alsair, us was him and me, and maybe Thess, and everyone else was them. He had that drummed into him throughout my childhood on Holovarus. When I'd fight with my father or Jalil, it was always him I ran to, and you weren't exactly welcoming when he came to the Fang.
Sometime later, they all emerged from the bathhouse, looking dozy and relaxed and slightly wrinkled. Gerard had forgotten how it felt not to be sticky with salt and crusted with sand. Even Felbane looked pleased as he sat grooming and preening beside the water, with all the zebras and zeds giving him a very wide berth. Gerard was glad that they wouldn't be staying for long in the town. Gawain had given them a ship's pass from the Defiance, which Gerard showed to anyone who asked, but he could tell that many of the Zeds would like nothing better than to shoot all 4 of them.
Who could blame them if they know anything about Wefravain?
When they got back to the cabin, they found a meal laid out for them, and a couple of Shavier going through their packs, making faces, and discarding nearly all their clothes. The Fawns turned out to be a husband and wife who did most of the laundry and the more complicated mending aboard ship. They provided the newcomers with simple cotton garments, took their measurements, and promised better-fitting clothes in a few days. The cabin had a porthole window, which they opened to a cheerful blue sky and sea breeze. There were cupboards with several folding chairs inside, a fold-out desk built to the wall, and places to hang several hammocks. Felbane took up half the room, and Gerard was trying to decide how to arrange things when a Shavier came by to show Felbane his quarters, a nest box just down the hall. They left him rearranging his straw and snapping up pieces from a bucket of fish parts. Gawain was waiting in their cabin when they returned. He told them that they were to eat supper with the ship's officers, and warned them that any serious opposition to their presence would be presented then.
We're not exactly an autocratic ship. The officers get more say than on most. I expect some discussion, so please be patient.
I would have been shocked if they'd taken us without comment.
Silvio had voiced a similar sentiment in the bathhouse.
That was too easy.
Also,
said Gawain,
I think Dakar ought to stay here tonight. Let them think she's just a little girl for now.
He looked apologetic.
I know that's not what you want to hear, but I think if I tell them anything about her, I ought to tell them everything. Her species completely aside, we have good reasons to think her mother is actively seeking her, and that will make some of the officers really uncomfortable.
Gerard glanced at Dakar.
Do you understand what he's asking you to do?
She nodded.
It's all right.
Are you sure?
She cocked her head on one side. She made a cute kid, big solemn black eyes, a button nose, and pretty pink lips that reminded him of a child's version of her mother's.
I like being a Shelt, Gerard. I want to be a Shelt.
But you're not, and we think that's all right. We're just not sure everyone else will.
She smiled.
You worry too much.
It was something she'd heard from Silvio. Gawain laughed.
She's got you figured out. See you in half a watch.
At sunset, they presented themselves at the dining cabin. To Gerard's surprise, the captain turned out to be a female foxling of perhaps 60. She had glittering blue-gray eyes, a face lined with wind and sun, and hair streaked black and white.
Now there's a white foxling,
commented Silvio to Gerard.
Looks kind of gray to me.
Silvio shook his head.
My mother was a red, so my father must have been a white. I look exactly like the winter phase of a white foxling, but purebreds have a dark coat in the summer. The captain is between coats.
She was also wearing gold hoop earrings, and she seemed to like the colors red, yellow, and brilliant blue, preferably together. Her name was Mink, and she came straight over to Silvio.
Silvio Lemire. I'd always hoped to have either the pleasure of meeting you or killing you. Perhaps both. You don't look quite yourself this evening. Nothing blindingly reflective.
Silvio grinned nervously. He signed, and Gerard translated.
I've heard of you. Long time ago. Didn't you used to have a ship called the Swallow?
She beamed.
That's right, Puppy. The Swallow was, 15 years ago at least, when I was a little sprier. We took a temple ship once, but that was before your time.
Wouldn't have happened in my time.
Shot Silvio good-naturedly, and Gerard risked relaying it because the captain seemed friendly.
You'd have made a good pirate, Silvio.
He still will if you'll keep him,
said Gawain over her shoulder.
Absolutely.
said Mink.
Much too cute to kill. Also, I suspect, useful.
Her second-in-command looked less friendly. He was a leopon, a leopard shelt, with facial stripes like an ocelot and a cream and black patterned tail. He was nearly as tall as Gerard, with dark brown hair and yellow eyes. He looked down his nose at Silvio and scowled at Gerard. He turned to Gwaine.
So you really do plan to take anyone aboard?
Anyone who'll contribute.
And what are these two going to contribute? Recipes for fawn pie and ways to wear leopard pelts?
I was actually thinking more along the lines of taxidermy,
said Silvio. Gerard did not translate.
They're cast-offs of that bloody-minded bitch. They're only here because no one else will have them.
The room had gone quiet. Everyone was listening. Gerard glanced around at the faces of the ship's officers. A couple of Shavier fawns, a Gazumel, a lemur, a Zed, and, he blinked, an ocelot, sitting on the table at the far end.
That's not true,
said Gwaine.
Gerard saved my life and volunteered to help. It's why the priestess tried to kill him.
And what about that one?
The leopon stabbed a finger at Silvio.
That thing is up to his elbows in our blood. He's the embodiment of a vicious abuse of power that corrupts everything it touches. He let the wyverns use him until he was used up, and now that he's got nothing left, he comes crawling to us.
Silvio bristled, his breathing a little too quick. He kept his hands at his sides. Gerard could feel him teetering between the desire to fight back and the desire to turn and walk out the door. Gerard put a hand on his shoulder. He started to say something, but Gwaine interrupted.
I think...
The leopon rounded on him.
I know what you think. We all know what you think. And you've been wrong, haven't you? As much as I respect you, sir, I do not agree with all of your ideas. Especially the ones that involve adding an ex-admiral of the Temple Sea Watch and an ex-captain of the Temple Police to our crew. Resistance tradition says we don't take aboard those shelts, ever. It's a good tradition.
Sirwan,
said Mink, her voice even.
And you, lady, are a foxling. And I know you're sympathetic to your species. Firebird knows they get kicked around enough, but this one is tainted. Not because he's a mountebank and a dock rat, although he's those things too. Because he's one of them.
He shook a finger at Gerard.
He's a Grishnard by association. He's a manipulator and a liar and an abuser, and he doesn't know how to be anything else.
Gerard, I want to leave.
Silvio's posture and expression were stony, but he sounded sad.
I can't do this. Please, can we leave?
Before Gerard could answer, a shelt stepped between Silvio and the leopon. It was Marlowe.
Serwyn, if you want someone besides Gwaine to vouch for them, then I will.
Serwyn looked at him suspiciously.
Why? They skinned your father, Marlowe. They raped your mother. They
didn't. Other Grishnards did that. Gwaine's right. Gerard was more ours than theirs from the beginning, and Silvio was very far from used up. I can't think of anyone I'd rather have on my side in a tight place. Wiffrevane counts a lot of valuable things as worthless. All of us, for instance. We're not resistance anymore, and we're not bound by any code but our own. I say these two are all right. I'll watch them if you think they need watching.
Marlowe and Serwyn stared at each other, lion and leopon. Their tails were lashing. Mink spoke up.
We try to agree on major decisions here. I think the officers would like to discuss this one. Marlowe, we all know what you think, and since you've already volunteered, would you mind stepping outside with Gerard and Silvio for a moment? Serwyn, I think you've made yourself clear as well. Please step outside.
The leopon looked at Mink with an expression Gerard could not read. Then he left without another word. Gerard didn't realize until he stepped into the hall how tense he'd been, or how much he was bristling. Marlowe led the way down the stairs, and they stepped outside into the cool night air. Several of the lemurs peered down curiously from the rigging. They were about half the size of Silvio, with huge flame-orange eyes, masks of black fur around their faces, and ringed tails. Gerard let out a long breath and leaned against the quarterdeck bulkhead. Silvio was biting his lip. He slid his knife out of his sleeve and offered it to Marlowe, hilt first. Marlowe looked confused.
Why are you giving me this?
Gerard sighed.
It's his only knife. He's defenseless without it. He wants to give you something. He wants to say thank you.
Marlowe crouched. Silvio's eyes were sad now. He'd stopped bristling, and his ears drooped. Marlowe wrapped his hand around Silvio's and the handle of the knife.
You keep that. You need it more than I do, and I have no doubt you throw it better.
Silvio touched the scar on Marlowe's cheek.
He says he's sorry about that.
Marlowe laughed.
Why? I let your prisoners out and armed them while you were busy with the spiders.
Silvio gave an "I knew it" huff and looked down at his paws. Marlowe frowned, and Gerard realized that he'd relayed something that Silvio hadn't actually signed.
Alpha Bond,
said Gerard, and watched to see what Marlowe would do. Marlowe blinked.
Oh, well, I suppose that's useful.
Gerard remembered Gwain's phrase.
It was somewhat artificial in its creation. Long story. Maybe we'll tell you sometime.
Marlowe nodded. He straightened up and leaned against the bulkhead. Finally, he said,
One assassin to another, Silvio. You ever get tired of killing Shelts?
Silvio thought for a moment and nodded.
Even the ones who deserve it. Even if you're killing really bad Shelts, you get tired of it. Sometimes you just like to save someone instead.
Like us?
Marlowe grinned.
Why not?
How old are you, really?
27. I was 15 when I joined the police. Scrawny kid, Leon. I told them I was 12. I looked it. Later I changed the records and eventually I killed everyone who was around when I joined. Except a few old ones who were forgetful. By the time you showed up, my official age of arrival was 6.
Did you kill all those captains yourself?
Asked Silvio, and Gerard translated. Marlowe shook his head.
Some of them. Sometimes I just passed information to the resistance that got them killed. A few of them managed to get themselves shot or poisoned entirely without my assistance. The police really was a dangerous job, even without me around.
Why did you let Arundel get away?
Gerard wished he could translate the tone. Marlowe grimaced.
Arundel was odd. I tried to kill him several times, but he seemed to have a preternatural sense of survival. He was smart, and Gwain was getting interested in the idea that all Shelts were basically victims of the dragons, and we all ought to be on the same side. He sent Arundel several messages outlining his ideas, and there were a couple of days when I actually thought Arundel might reply. But then he got called to the temple, and the rumors started that he was having an affair with a priestess, and he just got stranger and stranger.
Gerard thought of something else he'd been wanting to ask.
How did you get away from the spiders on the water sprite?
Marlowe smiled.
That's not really my secret to tell. Ask Gwain.
At that moment, something like an enormous bat flashed over the deck, casting weird shadows in the torchlight. It circled once, and then dropped, fluttering, onto the plank some distance away. It folded its wings, and Gerard's mind finally made sense of the shape. It was a winged wolf. Its wings folded by moving the elongated dewclaw and fourth toe back against its body and rotating its shoulders into a position suitable for walking on all fours.
Sue?
Asked Marlowe. She turned, saw them, and came at a trot.
Where's Gwain?
She asked.
He's in the dining cabin, but he's having a bit of an argument with the officers, trying to get them to let Silvio and Gerard come with us.
Sue glanced at them and gave a dismissive snort.
Did he finally get those two? I still need to talk to him.
Silvio was squinting towards the mouth of the harbor.
Is that what I think it is?
Gerard looked. A ship had sailed into view and was approaching them at speed. Gerard recognized her.
The water sprite?
Sue nodded.
I think the officers are about to have something more important to argue about.
You have been listening to The Guild of the Cowry Catchers by Abigail Hilton. Copyright Abigail Hilton. Cowry Catchers is an illustrated story with ink and watercolor artwork by Sarah Cloutier. You can view the sketch art for free on the website at cowrycatchers.com, and the episode covers provide a sneak peek at the finished artwork. If you'd like to view the complete illustrations and support the podcast, the ebook is for sale on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Smashwords, Kobo, and most other ebook platforms. As of this recording, it costs $5. A big thank you in advance to those who purchase the book or review it. This podcast included the vocal talents of
Nathan Lowell
as Gerard,
Norm Sherman
as Silvio,
Chris Lester
as Gwaine,
Hughes Hilton
as Marlowe,
R.E. Chambliss,
as Dakar,
Kimmy Alexander,
as Thessalin,
Tim Dodge,
as Felbane,
Brian Lincoln,
as Serwin,
Veronica Jaguar,
as Mink,
Rish Outfield,
as the Quartermaster. Sound effects for this podcast were provided by SoundSnap, the Free Sound Project, and Sound Dogs. The intro music for this podcast was Grace by Beth Quist. The outro music is The River Between by Jamie Saber. Both were licensed with permission from Magnatune.net. Music for Book 4 of Cowry Catchers included selections from Digital Juice at digitaljuice.com and Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com. It also included additional music from Beth Quist, Diana Rowan, and Jamie Saber, all from Magnatune.net. All music was licensed and used according to the terms of the websites. This is a standard copyright now. This podcast is provided for your personal enjoyment only. You can download and archive the episodes for your personal use. You may not re-upload, mirror, or publicly redistribute the audio files, nor can you alter, remix, or create derivative works. And I'm back. This is 2025 Abby, coming to you with a few thoughts on the episode. So this is the beginning of what is now Book 2 of the saga. That's Mochi. It was Book 4 and the original arrangement. I can tell listening to this that I had gotten better as a producer. By this point, I had done some things like I had chosen specific musical themes for some characters, or for emotional moments for specific characters, and I would use that music to recall previous events. There is a language to scoring a story that has music in it, and I was kind of learning how to use that language. As far as the writing goes, we are closing some loops here and opening others. If you are tired of the kind of darker, more emotional part of the story, and you're still with me, take heart. It's about to get exciting again with shipboarding and sword fights, and stuff is about to go down. Anyway, that's all I've got to say for now. It will be 2026 for me when I speak to you again, so I hope you had a good new year, and I look forward to interesting and exciting things in this coming year. I will talk to you soon. This is Abigail Hilton, and you have been listening to the Pirates of Wefravain saga. Join me on Patreon for early episodes, long-form interviews, forum access, personal updates, and lots of artwork, including maps and species charts. That's patreon.com/Abigail Hilton. If you want the whole story now with no interruptions and some remastering of the early books for sound quality, you can find the entire series at shop.abigailhilton.com, along with all my other novels. The audiobooks are delivered by BookFunnel. Background music was Hidden Sky by Jamie Sieber, licensed from Magnatune.net circa 2014. The Guild of the Cowry Catchers podcast is an audio adaptation of the Pirates of Wefravain saga, written and produced by Abigail Hilton. Original production copyright 2010, all rights are reserved to the author.